ESPN's Mike Greenberg from Get Up. Top 5 quarterbacks who could break into the top 10 this season. He has Trevor Lawrence number 1 and Tua number 2.
Deshaun Watson feels like an obvious one. I put him at number 3. There are so many parts of this story that have nothing whatsoever to do with football. But if he recaptures 75% of what he was at his apex, he's definitively one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the sport. He might have been in the top 2 or 3 when last seen in Houston. So he's at 3.
And Jacob, the thing that I keep scratching my head about is people are talking like Deshaun Watson is coming off a catastrophic injury, or is 35 years old and declining. I don't know why, and I would say, show me somebody who made 3 Pro Bowls his first 4 or 5 years in the NFL, missed some time, and then fell off the face. I can't think of anybody who that applies to. That's why I don't understand people who don't think he's going to at least get back to near what he was.
Right, and I think a lot of times about like Michael Vick's situation. He was away for so long as well, and when he came back, he was a backup to Donovan McNabb at first, but he needed some time to shake it off, and then he got one of the first $100 million quarterback contracts. You know, he recaptured that because, again, it was terrible off the field stuff, but none of it was dealing with his health in terms of his physical health. Like you said, he's not coming back from a pair of ACL tears or, blowing out his shoulder 2 or 3 times. I think that we live in this like recency bias world when it comes to sports, and a lot of people just can't get past the 6 games last year because they just weren't up to par with who he had been. But if you go and you watch these games and you compare some of them to what he did in 2020, you'll see that though the stats didn't skyrocket towards the end of the season, he did get better. You did see more of Deshaun Watson from 2020. You saw him extending plays. You saw him running for touchdowns. He was able to kind of shake some of that rust off. But I get that those games were really bad, but just go watch his 2020 tape. If you just go and you watch that, and you cannot, like you said, you cannot convince me that guy doesn't exist anymore. He led the league in passing yards. He completed over 70% of his passes, and that was with a really bad offensive line and not that many weapons. So he's going into this season with a better offensive line, better weapons, a full off season, and all his offense completely tailored to him. Unless he gets hurt, I can't fathom a season where he's not really good.
Yeah, and he didn't have DeAndre Hopkins that 4-11 season, so just remember that. The other thing, he was 3-3 in those 6 games. He didn't play well. The team was 3-3. The Texans were 3-3 when he finally got onto his field his rookie year. He followed up with an 11-5 and a 10-5 record because he missed a game, and then he had the 4-12. So this is a guy that usually wins games. He finds a way to help his team win games minus that 4-12 season.